Towards the end of 2021, some people might have noticed that quite a few Rioters left the company. It didn't seem to be happening for any nefarious reasons, it's just that after working at a company for 10 years, it might be nice to seek out a change. After all, it was around that time when Riot hit a new peak with Arcane. But still, just like that, some big Riot names started appearing around other games. The last big project led by former Rioters I showed you was Omega Strikers. A really awesome sports brawler that is rooted around fun gameplay. But recently, you might have noticed another one. Project Loki, developed by Theorycraft Games, who have quite an interesting background story. And as the title of this video might suggest, be ready to see some familiar faces. This is a project that's been floating around social media for about a year now. It hasn't attracted massive attention yet, because all the playtests that happened so far were under an NDA. The thing is, I never got into any of these playtests. So without an NDA, I can talk about all the things we know about this game. Project Loki is a MOBA with many elements that people compare to Battlerite. Rest in peace, buddy. It has the traditional loop of picking a character and diving into action with your team. But it is sprinkled with a few amazing twists. First of all, the playable area is one massive arena, which you dive into Battle Royale style. Although you are not competing against 100 other players. It is a competition of seemingly 3 teams of 4 people. On the combat side, besides every character having unique abilities, you have 2 big things that are happening here. Unlike what you might be used to in traditional MOBAs, here you don't have full vision of what's around you. You can only see in a cone in front of you, which actually gives this game a lot of depth. For example, an ambush from an assassin is going to feel a lot more impactful, and you are more likely to feel the dread of someone chasing you. But also, this game is playing into physics interactions. They showcase the glider mechanics, which are cool on their own. You can jump. Yes, you can jump, and you can open up your glider to traverse the gaps in the environment. But while you are gliding, you can also freely use your abilities, as long as you have enough room to land on your feet. But that is still not it. Some abilities can push your character around, which can play into the physics too. For example, here, in one of the showcased background footages, you can see the character land, drop a jumping pad, and then she shoots behind her so that the recoil gives her momentum forward. And this is really what is selling me the sandbox playground vibes. If you sprinkle some of the environmental hazards on top of it, such as trains running people over, you will start running into some wacky fun, which is something the MOBA genre really needs right now. But now you may be saying, well, you described this as a MOBA, but this has nothing to do with League of Legends. There are no lanes, no minions, no bases to take down, and it has WASD controls. To which I would like to remind you, actually, MOBA stands for Multiplayer Online Battle Arena, which by definition this game is. But yes, this game is quite far away from League of Legends. Is what I would say if League of Legends didn't come out with the Arena game mode. Also, yes, you can use WASD in League too. You see, right now, there seems to be an uprising of an interesting genre. Just like we had the boom of early 2000s MMO, followed up by MOBAs, followed up by Battle Royales. Now, there seems to be a little bit of a rise of Battle Arenas. A simplified version of the MOBA genre that is more about having fun with the fighting mechanics. It is true that the first one to give this a go was Battlerite, but now Project Loki is giving it a go, and League of Legends is pushing into this area as well. And all of this is really good, because game genres get defined the best when you have multiple games competing for the same market. That's what actually gives the players the best kinds of games. It's when companies are trying to be better than the rest. Another thing I'd like to mention is the character designs. You do have your typical Akali Caitlyn styled sniper. And you do have your Roadhog. But to be honest, at this point it is pretty dumb to just compare characters between different games. So let's just appreciate how good the Loki character design is. From gothic cyberpunk gunslingers, to stretchy chunky shotgun boys, to pyromaniac foxes. These seem to be the playable characters that were available during the early playtests. But then we can also have a look at some of their art. And here you can find your classic soldier with a rifle, a demonic goat sage, an awesome mech spirit, which it is possible that one of those was playable in one of the demos, but that would mean that these are early concepts, so I don't know. But also Undertale. I'm totally not gonna cry when this character dies. In general, it seems like the team knows exactly what they are doing with the character designs. They have a clear vision and they seem to be going right after it. And it makes sense if you consider who Theorycraft Games are. You see, I first learned about Project Loki by following Joe on Twitter. We are still gonna call it Twitter. Of course, this is the person you may remember from all the League of Legends updates as well as the 10th anniversary. After he announced that he was leaving Riot Games, he also name-dropped Theorycraft Games, a new studio that was forming up. And many months after that, Theorycraft Games confirmed that the first game they were working on was Project Loki. Or at least for now, that's the code name for the game. At this point, I already wanted to talk about this game because the core gameplay looked fun. It also seemed to be a meaningful competitor to League of Legends, so it was relevant to this channel. And also, Joe was a former Rioter, so the title of the video was writing itself. But then, I noticed something really awesome. Somewhat recently, Theorycraft Games released 2 videos where they revealed the game. In one of them, Joe explained what the game was about, and in the second one, John and Jess dived into the development, which is where I paused for a moment. I recognized John, known as Bellissimo, who was previously the lead producer of League of Legends and who became the game director. And you might remember Jess, also known as SafeLocked, for having to deliver that one unfortunate line.
And we're still hearing that new champions feel unfair to play against, particularly when it comes to complex abilities or overloaded kits. If we're being completely honest, we don't think our champions have overloaded kits overall. But that being said, there have been times when we've given new champions too many tools and had to pull back later to give them more clear weaknesses.
Looking back, I still see it as just a meme. I'm still a bit on Riot's side. I think the kits were fine, it's just that you also need to give players easy to play champions on top of it. Regardless, someone had to deliver the script, and so it just happened to be her. But now we have 3 big faces from Riot Games that people recognize. And despite the incident I just mentioned, all of these were respected developers. They knew what they were doing. They were all very good at making games. So I had a thought. At the beginning of 2023, when all of that happened, Meddler and Brightmoon came out and confirmed that the League of Legends team actually lost a lot of people, and that 2022 was about rebuilding the teams. So I wondered, could it be that a lot of those people who left went and joined Theorycraft Games? Well, that's right, their website lists 28 of former Riot developers, from Valorant to TFT to League of Legends. And on top of that, we have some veterans from old Blizzard as well as other companies. I know that none of this really means anything, but I just wanted to mention it as a cool fact. It definitely gives this project a cool background. And on top of this, this lineup gives people a lot of confidence. It really feels like a passion project from the devs who are working in the field. And who knows, if battle arenas do prove to be the next viral game genre, this team might have a massive W on their back. But again, this will all go down to how well they can capture the fun of pure gameplay. One of the big reasons why Battlerite died is because they didn't have a lot of variety between games. In League's arena, at least you have some of the hazards, and the plants serve as a good objective to fight around, not to mention the augments. In Loki, by looking at the map, you can see that you will be fighting for some loot, similarly to something like Apex, but you will also deal with some environmental hazards, so they definitely seem to be going in the right direction. But hey, that's something I would have a lot more context on if I got into one of the playtests.